Hi there, all of you wonderful people in Taos and northern New Mexico. This is Cody Hooks, reporter with the Taos News, and here is what we're working on in this week's paper. On the crime beat, a driver struck and killed a 29-year-old woman at the intersection of Paseo del Pueblo Sur and Paseo del Cañon West Friday night. The deceased, identified as Amanda Marie Tafoya of Penasco, was wearing all black clothing, according to police, which have said that while the driver was not intoxicated or speeding at the time of the accident, a toxicology report will be performed to determine whether Tafoya was under the influence of drugs or alcohol. This week, John has more details on the incident and takes a broader look at the vehicle versus pedestrian accidents, how often they're happening, and how they can be avoided. John also has the docket this week, meaning you'll get a breakdown of all of the anticipated court actions for January. Remember, all dates and times listed are subject to change. Reporter Jesse Moya has an update on the Paseo del Pueblo Sur construction. This is part of a multi-year plan that will redo the road from State Road 518 in the south to the juncture with Taos Pueblo to the north. Read more about that on Thursday. Jesse also has a story on what Stray Hearts Animal Shelter is looking forward to in 2018. Cynthia Lucas, the new director of the beleaguered shelter, is determined to get the facility operating at its full potential and has implemented some new programs and techniques to get there. The shelter is always seeking willing volunteers for assistance with their 100 dogs and 100 cats. In this week's sports news, we're starting the second half of the winter season, and that means all the best sports reporting for basketball, wrestling, and swimming. Teams are gearing up for the rest of the games and competitions, like the historic Northern Rio Grande tournament this weekend. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Taos Area Sports. In business, Jesse Moya takes a trip to Sugar Bear Taos. Owner Alyssa Nightingale knows all too well how difficult Taos can be to live and to work in, and has decided to hire 2 employees at double the town's minimum wage. The business has not quite reached the 2-year business threshold, but has already made an impact in the historic district of downtown. Read about that on Thursday. And this week on the cover of Tempo, we ask, what's next? That's right, it's our annual astrological prognostications for the year ahead. Guest writer Virginia Clark tells us about the Universal 11 and what that has to do with numerology and the race for power. Also in Tempo, there's an art show coming up featuring the works of queer youth from Taos, as well as a benefit concert hosted by renowned musician Michael Martin Murphy. In lifestyles, you best not be hungry when you sit down with this month's In the Kitchen features. Lucy Herman has 3 chili recipes to try out and perfect just in time for making your plans for the Super Bowl. We've also got New Mexico's best wine column, as well as a story on the budding business that is Taos Spice Merchants, a shop dedicated to fine, divine spices from here in New Mexico and around the world. In weather, it's getting a little colder, but it's still dry. The National Weather Service reports lows in the teens this week with possible precipitation next week. As one meteorologist from Albuquerque said, the amount of snow on the mountains right now is essentially nothing. Weather's always at the top of our website, taosnews.com. And here's what's up in the astrology. We had a full moon in Cancer on Sunday, and that'll give you all the feels, especially paired with Saturn's recent transit into Capricorn. Saturn, the stern rules-following ruler, will be there for another 2.5 years. And if you haven't already, be sure to read our breakdown of the astrology for our federal congressmen Ben Ray Lujan and Senators Tom Udall and Martin Heinrich. That'll do it for this week. A copy of your award-winning community newspaper is always just $1, and they hit the stands and street corners Thursday morning. Thank you for supporting a free and independent press right here in Taos, New Mexico. Bueno, bye.